Hello everyone, this is Carl Shiflett, and in this short video I want to talk to you about the WPF XamDataGrid Configurator filtering dialog. Alright, so let's go ahead and start up our configurator. I'm going to select my control tag, press control dot, and press enter. Alright, so this filtering tab here on the XamDataGrid, the filtering group, has an advanced button that allows you to open up a dialog. Now, this is only when you're selected on the XamDataGrid. If you go down here to the order layout or to any layout, you still have a filtering section, but we don't have an advanced dialog. The reason is the advanced dialog down here actually works and operates against the XamDataGrid level. It operates at this top level. All right. So with regards to filtering, remember when you're setting properties at a higher level, then all the child objects below them inherit that, right? So again, allow filtering here. We got allow record filtering. That's the true name. It's on the field settings, right? We've got these other properties that are on field layout settings, and there's, on and on, right? We know that there's properties from different places on from different objects, but we've brought them up at a high level to make it easier for the developer. All right. So in addition to that, what we did is you can only put so many controls up on the ribbon, right? So we tried to pick the most commonly used properties across the different objects and surface them on the ribbon. The filtering dialog, what this does, and the reason I'm moving this down a little bit is so when we make changes here, you can see it in the UI. It's kind of cool. So the filtering dialog, what it does is it shows you all of the filtering properties across the XamDataGrid field layout settings object and the XamDataGrid field settings object. So these deal with the filtering, all right, on these two objects. And what we decided to do was to put them in one place where you can see all the properties full up, rather than having you run over to the XamDataGrid, field layout settings and the XamDataGrid field settings, and then getting into the property grid to go down to the filter section just so you can see them. Same thing with the field layout settings, and then also we have behaviors, right? So we've done our best to try to group these together for you to make it easier. All right. So now this filter dialog, along with the performance dialog that is in another video, it has this notion of a feature set. And so when you enable, or let's hover over, it says allow record filtering is a nullable Boolean property, Boolean property on the field settings and field objects. This checkbox has 3 states. When null, the default value is used. Okay, so we're at a high level and we want to enable filtering. So we have this little feature, and if you click apply, this checkbox doesn't do anything until you click this. Now, notice a few things that just happened. Besides hitting apply features here, this checkbox got checked, this UI lit up, and this checkbox got checked. Okay, so this is pretty cool. So you can enable filtering real easy. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off. I'm going to hit apply, and then I'm going to close this. Remember, this is a 3-state. You got, right? You got 3 states here. So null is the default and nothing happens. You could also just come up here and turn it on. So you don't have to use the dialog to enable filtering, right? The idea behind the dialog, in addition to this, was twofold. One was to let you see all of the options available to you, and also so you can click this record filtering help topic. This is like really important, okay? Record filtering is a very extensive topic. It's a very rich feature of the XamDataGrid control. So in order to really take full advantage of all the things that the XamDataGrid configure, or I'm sorry, the XamDataGrid control to do, you're going to want to read these topics to master filtering. For instance, you can actually do the filtering yourself. That's what external filtering is. This allows you, when you've got large data sets, instead of having the XamDataGrid do the work, you can do it yourself, and these topics explain how to do this. So it shows you, you just read these help topics, you'll be an expert, and you'll have your customers super happy with the filtering in the XamDataGrid. So for instance, let me show you a couple of properties here. So one, you've got this filter UI type. Just keep your eyeballs up here, right? So there's a default, then there's label icons. So instead of having that little control that comes down, see, it says label icons. That's why it's called label icons, because the icon shows up next to the label, right? And then here you can have filter record, all right? And that's what you get. You get this whole filter record. It's really cool. And then, or you can just leave it at default, right? So there's all kinds of different properties, like I don't know. So there's let's see, clear button visibility. See that guy right there? That's your clear button, right? So if you had a filter and you clicked on it, you could clear it. By default, it's visible. If you want to, you can go ahead and collapse it and it won't show. This is a property grid. It actually works like a property grid. So if you want to reset it, you just hit reset. And then you can see that this value here is back to its null value. Okay. And you can see that this thing popped up and it's all working, right? Or actually, it's null now. What we want is visible. That's the property that we want. All right, so rather than bore you with all these different features, because you're going to want to go and learn about this, this is what the purpose of the filtering dialog is. And again, this topic here helps you master filtering. Now, here's a really nice thing about the XamDataGrid. This is live, okay? You see these little values here? So if I click like 68, see how it filters that, right? Okay, and I can set it back, or I can come up here. I get into the custom filter section, and again, you can read about that, and you can type in all kinds of things here. Normally, users do this, right? So I'm going to come up here and clear it. So when we save the XamDataGrid, I'm going to go ahead and click 68. All right. Now I'm going to apply and save. Control K, Control D. And if we come down here, you're going to see that we didn't save those conditions inside the XAML. We've got it all enabled, but the XamDataGrid Control Configurator doesn't save your conditions. And the reason is because this data here is sample data. So when your users use this, they're going to have a completely different experience, right? Their data is going to be very different. So we don't save we don't serialize, if you will, into the XAML these kind of settings. But this is fully enabled and it works great. All right. So now what I want to talk about is these other two properties that we have here. We put them here because they operate on all this, but they're not really, part of filtering, so to speak. These two properties are properties. They're some of the properties that I'm going to talk about in a later video called limitations, that we allow you to set the values of the properties, but they don't change the UI at design time. So for instance, if I go over here in mode and I select field chooser button, you notice you don't get a field chooser button there, right? But if I hit apply and close, and then see how it's popped up there now? Here, let's run the app. Best way to show you something is just run it, right? Okay. So we're going here, running the app, and we're going to get ourselves, and we were doing the nested layout, I think, right? And so then we click on this, we get ourselves a field chooser button. But this field chooser UI is not available within the XamDataGrid itself, XamDataGrid Control Configurator. We ran into some issues with it being up, and some complicated timing issues, and because this is an incredibly rich and complicated UI, and this is at a sort of it's at the design time, but it's runtime. So we just ran into too many issues, and we didn't think anybody really wants to pop up a field chooser in the configurator anyway. So if you come down here and you look at it, haha, we got a field chooser, right? All right, now this guy, this header prefix mode controls this, okay? And so when this is in menu mode, then you can come over here and you can do things. So watch this. I'm gonna click these two. I'll go and click all three. Now I'm gonna save it. See, the icon changed. I know it's hard to see, but let's go and just run the app. And then I could, of course, show you this. Oops. That was run the app, Carl. My bad. All right, so here we go. Runs up great. Go to nested and see how you have all three. See how cool that is? And that's grayed out because you don't have that enabled. So the user could do this. So just know your XamDataGrid configurator isn't broken. Oops. There we go. So the XamDataGrid configurator is not broken. It's just by design that we do that. Okay. So I'm going to set that back to default. I'm going to set this back to default. So just remember that this doesn't do anything unless that's in menu mode. And then how did I learn that? Well, I came over here to the header, prefix, area, menu, options, enumeration. And these were the items that we had selected before, right? You got to read the fine print. This setting is ignored unless the header prefix display mode resolves to menu. Okay, so that's how this works. Again, reading the fine print can really help you out. All right, so I think that pretty much about covers filtering. See, there's a lot of configuration you can do to enable your users to filter their data inside the XamDataGrid. All right, have a wonderful day, and hope you enjoy using the Infragistics XamDataGrid for WPF. Thanks again. Bye.